Hey there, you're watching the Adventure Travel Family. We're the Akingboye family, and adventure travel is our love language. In each of our videos, we hope to bring you all along while sharing tips on how you can also create your own adventures around the world or in your own backyard. We've learned that adventure favors the curious. We'd love it if you would subscribe, like, and share this video, and then go follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Adventure Travel Family. If you're looking for a once-in-a-lifetime bucket list family trip destination that places you at the doorstep of the last remaining wonder of the ancient world, then Egypt is for you. In this video, we'll share why and how we chose Egypt, our accommodations, 5 amazing activities we did while in Cairo and Giza, and a few cultural and travel tips to help make your trip and visit more enjoyable. Now you might be wondering, why Egypt? Well, we chose it because it's a COVID-friendly location, meaning you need a negative COVID test to get into the country, but there are no quarantine requirements once there. Also, most of our planned activities were in outdoor, wide open spaces. Another reason is Egypt's been on our family bucket list for forever. And lastly, it's an educational and historical location, which we love and appreciate. We stayed at the Marriott Mina house in Giza, which is a 45 to 60 minute taxi ride from the Cairo airport, depending on traffic. We made airport taxi arrangements with a driver of a tour we booked through Viator.com, which is a reputable TripAdvisor company. All of our tour guides communicated through WhatsApp, which made messaging easier. Marriott Mina House is one of the oldest and most famous hotels in Giza due to its proximity to the pyramids. Since it is a Marriott, you know you're getting quality service and food. We stayed in a room on the 4th floor with pyramid views. You can also get rooms with a garden or pool view. The hotel has a good-sized pool which offered a refreshing escape from the desert heat. Our first morning in Egypt, we had breakfast with the pyramids in the background. It was magical and very surreal. We highly recommend staying at the Marriott Mina House Cairo because of their exceptional service, security, and location. Now, 5 amazing things we did in Cairo and Giza are ATV riding in the desert, camel riding, visiting papyrus and essential oils shops, climbing the pyramids, and touring the Egyptian Museum. All of our tours were booked through Viator.com. They're not sponsoring this video yet, but we hope they will soon as we're huge fans. The advantage of booking excursions and tours instead of going at it alone is it addresses overcoming any potential language barriers, provides comfortable air-conditioned transportation and logistics. It also ensures safety. Our tour guides provided snacks and drinks, which is very important, and each of our guides were Egyptologists who were super educational and engaging with the kids. Our first activity was ATV riding in the desert. This activity was so much fun. Our tour guides picked us up from our hotel. They were great at providing some safety-related information on how to use the ATVs, including how to accelerate when going on uphill dunes. Very important. This adventure is fantastic and safe for a family as you can either ride single or double on the ATV. Sandals were fine, just make sure to bring a mask or a scarf to protect from the sand. This was one of our favorite excursions of the trip. We rode for about 60 minutes up and down the dunes on the outskirts of the pyramids and stopped for memorable shots at scenic locations on the ride. you can't travel all the way to Egypt without riding and taking photos on camels. On our second activity, we learned that mounting and dismounting a camel is definitely a skill that takes a bit of practice. We ended up riding camels 3 times during our week in Egypt, so we all got some good practice.
That's a lean back. Good job, Tony.
Tommy was not the biggest fan of riding on camels, so it was nice that our sunset ride had horses that were also an option. The best experience of the 3 camel rides was the one combined with our tour of the pyramids. The camel camp was close to the pyramids, they were clean, and we were led by Bedouin guides who took decent photos, which we can't say the same about the other 2 camel experiences. The papyrus and essential oil shops were a pleasant surprise, as both were included in our Great Pyramid excursion. While they were separate shops, the experiences were very similar. Upon entering, we were offered drinks and experienced the Egyptian hospitality. Hend, who is a shop guide, then educated us on the history and origin of papyrus, including a demonstration on how papyrus is made.
For example, this size. Then you have to remove the outer part with the green part using knife like that. And as you see, the green part sews to the outer part. If you want to try, it's okay. Between the piece of carbon in a vertical horizontal line. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal until you finish all the building. Then you have to use this machine. In each Egyptian time, they put under the stones, especially limestone. Why limestone? Because it absorbs water. But they put light in the light of the sun, it never gets the first thing ever.
The shop has a wide range of beautiful, decorated papyrus art you can purchase. Some have the option to be customized with your names or words in Egyptian hieroglyphics. We bought some for ourselves and for family and friends. At the essential oil shop, we were met with the beautiful aromas of the local perfumes that are still made using the ancient processes passed on through generations. These perfumes are purely Egyptian aromas with no alcohol. We were offered a full-length demonstration, including sniffing and testing of some samples. Most of the perfumes have exotic names such as Arabian Nights, Secret of the Desert, Nefertiti, Ramses II, etc. Most also have medicinal purposes, which were explained in detail by the shop attendant. You have options of mixing and customizing scents and buying in various quantities. We encourage you to always negotiate for a good price. Both shops package the papyrus art and the bottles of perfume securely for safe travel. Our next activity we want to highlight is visiting Egypt's Great Pyramids of Giza and seeing the Sphinx. Honestly, you cannot go all the way to Egypt and not visit the last standing wonder of the ancient world. From a distance, you can see the pyramids protruding from the desert, yet you can't fully grasp their grandeur until you're touching them. The bricks look small from afar even when we were taking family photos nearby. Once we touched them, that's when we could see their massive size. It is said that it took 27 years for its construction. The Great Pyramid is constructed from 2.3 million blocks, each weighing between 2 and 8 tons. It also has no foundation, as the blocks were meticulously stacked on one another.
Okay.
The tallest of the pyramids stands at 481 feet and was built around 2600 BC for Pharaoh Khufu. The pyramids were once covered with limestone, creating a smooth finish. Over the last centuries, people stole some of the limestone bricks to build part of what is now Giza and Old Cairo. Only a small portion at the top of one of the three pyramids has a smooth limestone finish still today. The second pyramid was built for Pharaoh Khafre and stands at 471 feet, while the third pyramid was built for Pharaoh Menkora, standing at 213 feet. We climbed up several levels using stairs they've etched in the bricks. A guard turned into a secret guide for Temi when he led him into the entrance. Egypt is in North Africa, and Temi being from Nigeria, I think he earned some points with some site guards who considered him a long-lost cousin. We also visited the Great Sphinx of Giza. The Sphinx is a mythical creature with the head of a man and the body of a lion that was built facing directly from west to east. When it was built, the face had a red color. To put into perspective its enormous size, the circumference of the head is 120 feet, the length of the feet is 143 feet, and it is 62 feet tall. It was believed to be the tomb of Pharaoh Khafre and was built around 2500 BC. A lot of locals will offer to take photos, usually for a tip, and they get really creative. Our last tour was visiting the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The Egyptian Museum is home to an extensive collection of ancient Egyptian artifacts collected from the pyramids, temples, and many other sites across Egypt. It has over 120,000 items, with a representative amount on display and the remainder in storerooms. One interesting fact we learned was that early explorers thought the Egyptians were giants due to the size of their mummy sarcophagi. However, they discovered that the Egyptians were regular-sized people, as the large-sized sarcophagi held up to 3 nesting mummy coffins. Based on what we see in movies, it's easy to think that only pharaohs and high-profile Egyptians were mummified and put in elaborate sarcophagi. That is true. But what about the regular, everyday Egyptians? We learned they were not mummified and had simple burials with no tombs. One of the most famous historical figures featured at the museum is King Tut. King Tut was the youngest ruler to ever sit on Egypt's throne. He was 9 years old when his reign began and was just 19 when he died. His tomb contained fabulous treasures and was found in 1922, nearly 3,000 years after his death. Many incredible artifacts from his tomb, including his golden shrine, his golden throne, canonic jars made of alabaster, a statue of Anubis, the jackal, which was believed to usher the souls of the Egyptian dead into the underworld, were in the main museum area. There was a highly secured section where the more famous treasures found in his mummy coffin were on display. including his elaborate golden death mask made from 22 pounds of gold and gemstones. It is among the most famous works of art in history. We're so grateful we had such an incredible Egyptologist guide to reinforce the history and information from the sites we had seen to the artifacts in the museum. Shout out to Mahmoud, aka Mimo, our delightful guide who spent 14 whole hours with us on our final day. Here are a few cultural and travel tips to help make your trip more enjoyable. Consider the time of year you're going. We went in the middle of the summer when temperatures were close to 100 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. So cotton, light breathable clothing, comfortable walking sandals, sunglasses, hats, bring on the desert vibes. Now, temperatures in the winter do drop, so plan accordingly. Stay hydrated, my friends. With the heat and long adventures and excursions, dehydration happens really easily. While you will find water and soft drinks easily, you won't find Gatorade or drinks with electrolytes. So we recommend bringing hydration tablets or packets that you can just drop right into your water bottle. Egypt is a predominantly Muslim country, so dressing culturally appropriate is another packing consideration to make. Keela and I wore dresses that covered our shoulders and covered our knees. One thing to think about is if you plan to go into any temples, you'll also need a scarf to cover your head. Be ready for street merchants to approach you with their wares. They can be persistent. Our tour guides told us to just ignore them and keep walking if we didn't plan to buy anything. Merchants and guides generally preferred to be paid in US dollars over Egyptian currency. Tips are highly appreciated and expected, and they're not included in your tour fees. Also, try to ensure that the cash you have is crisp, clean, and not damaged. We found out that most merchants will reject damaged notes. Now for COVID requirements. Your hotel concierge is a great resource to ask about COVID-related testing. We took a taxi to a nearby clinic in preparation for our return to the States. Payments for COVID testing can be done in cash, so go prepared. Have your COVID test results available, as airports and airlines have their own separate checkpoints. It is also advisable to have your vaccination card available. Processes are always changing, so make sure to check your destination and transit country's requirements for both entering and returning. Our family's goal is to be as prepared as possible and also be flexible and adaptable to the ever-changing COVID travel requirements. Our next video will cover our time in Luxor, Egypt, and all the activities we did there. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so you know when our next videos drop. Also, share with a friend. Our goal is to inspire families to choose their own adventure around the world and in their own backyard.